Oh, we already have people here. I'm just trying to figure out how to show participants. I'm thinking I can have a pop-out window. Oh, it's populating now. Can I take this out? Ah, hello. Hi, I can now see chat. I'm trying to see if I can take this window and take it out to the side. Thought I could do that. So I'm going on the timestamp. Pop out chat. There you go. Hopefully you can bear with me. This is the first time I've done any kind of live, never mind YouTube. Hi, folk. So I see you're all saying hello to each other. I have no idea what the norm is for when people actually get started. I read I watched a horrific video where the person was saying that the average time for people to turn up for a live event is 18 minutes after it starts. So those of you that are here already, well done, top marks. Can I just ask, can someone say in the comments if you can hear me okay? I believe there is a little bit of a delay from when you type to when I see it. Yes, you can see me, Fahid. Oh, good, excellent. I have a glass of water because I'm bound to get about to get dry. I have notepad so that as I spot any questions, I'll write them down. Otherwise, I'll probably forget them. I don't really have any particular view on the specifics about what I want to talk about. I'd really like it if people had questions that they asked them, so that what the questions I was answering were things that people wanted to see. The video I did today, just to explain that, I've noticed quite a lot of people in the comments of other videos, and it's I've got your question, MT. I'll just write it down. It's really interesting how many different people use different terminology to describe the same thing, and the one thing that I find more than anything is people confuse milligrams and milliliters. I don't know whether they're confusing it or whether it's typos, but yeah, that's Karen. I'll write your question here about holidays. Some people have been asking about that in the recent video. My first Mounjaro. It's funny, people do call me big man. So let me start by answering MT's question. Since I started taking Mounjaro, why don't I just give you the accurate number? That should be quite easy because I have my spreadsheet open. Since I started taking Mounjaro, I've lost 72 pounds overall. That's 32 kilos for those of you that use kilos. However, when I started taking Mounjaro, I don't know how many people have been following my journey since the beginning, but when I started taking Mounjaro, I was already trying to lose weight. I've just noticed that I've lost my chat box now. Let me move that back over. I was already losing weight. So in total, from when, like the month before I started taking Mounjaro, I've lost 86 pounds, 40 kilos. So a big percentage, well over 20% of my body weight, 25% of my body weight. It's one of these things, I guess, I don't know if it comes across in the videos. I genuinely believe it's been transformative. I do find the whole subject of Mounjaro a bit of a Marmite subject. There are people who are for it and people who are dead against it. My understanding, my guess is the people who are against it haven't struggled with weight loss like I have, and I completely get the attitude. Eat less, move more. And for the last maybe 10, 15 years, I've managed to do that on occasions, but it just doesn't stick. And even although it's true, when I stop taking Mounjaro, everything will come back to normal. I would rather be 40 kilos lighter and have the problem of keeping my weight off than the problem of trying to lose it. So 86 pounds in total. In terms of the holiday, I'd never considered it. I haven't been abroad for a while and I have no plans to, but my friends only live a 6-7 hour car journey. So I'd never even considered not taking it, assuming I was away when I had an injection that I needed to take. But some people have answered comments in my most recent video about the fact that they have taken the pen on holiday, and I did some Googling, and as long as the country you're going to allows Mounjaro, then you can take it as a prescription medicine. So it seems to be, I personally would get one of these little travel coolers, stick it in that, put it in your hand luggage. That was very strongly mentioned. It should be, keep it in your hand luggage, don't put it in hold luggage. And if you get asked about it in customs, you just need to show it as medicine, like any other medicine you would take. Oh, Richard, so Richard, you took your first Mounjaro yesterday. Hopefully everything's feeling okay. No side effects. It seems increasingly I get surprised how wide and varied the side effects are, and I know that everyone's different, but some people, I mean, I'm on 7.5 now, the equivalent of 10 based on my schedule, and I still only really get a bit of constipation and a dry mouth. There's people that start taking 2.5 milligrams and the nausea is terrible. It's weird. Alex, last 2 weeks in, I've hit a plateau. First time I've not lost weight. How long has that been? Last 2 weeks out of how many? One of the things I would say is over the course of my 6 months, I've had plateaus. I can kind of pinpoint the reason for each of them. But regarding the 1200 calories, there's a lot of chat out there, and it never ceases to amaze me how many people comment, take this many calories. How many calories you take is totally dependent on how big you are, how heavy you are, how overweight you are, how much activity you do. So anyone who doesn't know you, who doesn't know your story, tells you how many calories you should be eating is talking rubbish, as far as I'm concerned. I would find a good calculator. I can't remember the acronym TIDE, the thing that tells you how many calories you should be eating based on your size, weight, age, sex, and activity, and do a reasonable deficit from that. Reasonable being about 500 calories. I think that the most important thing is have that number be a good number to start with, and carefully, be very, very careful, be very diligent about counting the calories you take in. The way I did it was I based it on I can't say this word, lazy, sedentary. And then if I do exercise, I add those calories to my daily allowance. I found the whole moderate activity far too much guesswork. So for me, but carefully keeping track, and then see if you lose and tweak up and down based on that seems to be the most common thing. What caught my attention was your dose frequency. I've started 5 day now, just 3 doses. Yeah, the 5-day thing. Sorry, I'm going to write some of these down, otherwise I'll forget. Have you looked or found a source for screw-on needles at all? Like, and I'll come back to Paula. Paula, yes, you can find them on Google. If you either go to a medical supplies or Amazon, or they seem to be everywhere. you just search, I search for quick pen needles and you'll find them. You've seen people that I haven't had to buy any yet, but I know people have got them, and maybe some people will comment here. You can actually get the ones that are exactly the same. They seem to be a common thing to get. Sulfur square needles. That brand being 13. Well, £13 in 3 weeks is good. Bobber Raider, have you had a plateau? Yeah, as I say, I personally haven't had a plateau that I couldn't understand or I couldn't explain. I've been tracking my weight for years, and I've been tracking, and I can see the graph, and I can see the graph goes down, and every now and then there's a line, and it goes down, then there's a line, and every single one of them I could put my finger on. I was at a wedding that week, or I was staying with friends that week. I haven't had a plateau where I was doing exactly what I knew I should be doing and it wasn't working. And I think for me that's the important thing is don't just take the Mounjaro and expect it to work. You have to take the Mounjaro and do the work, keep track of things, and try to be using accurate numbers rather than just guesswork. There you go. Gail has answered your question, Paula. I got 6 screw-on needles every... Oh, yeah, sorry. I got 6 as well. And 6 is fine if you are taking full doses. Even if you're taking the golden dose, 6 is fine. Once you get to the stage, if you do the short dosing, I'm taking 10 injections from each pen now. I haven't ran out of needles yet, but I think eventually I know I will need to order them. Yeah, Paul, I just googled and got a pack of 100. A pack of 100. That's good. Please explain on how day 5 dosing. Okay, so Pip, I'm going to write this one down. 5-day dosing, and the reason I'm going to write it down is I'm going to share my screen when I talk about it, because it's complicated. It's complicated with a lot of numbers, and if I try and explain it without visual aids, it won't work. So I will come back to your question, Pip. Looking forward to this. I've wanted to learn so much. Okay, Richard, only side effects so far is I forgot I had food in the fridge. I saw an excellent video, one of these clickbait reels where the person was in tears talking about Mounjaro and how upset she was about no one told me about the side effects, and all the side effects were the unwanted, or were the wanted attention she got, and the fact she had to buy new clothes. So yeah, there are those. Your videos have been a great, yeah, sorry, this is probably incredibly boring to watch me reading. There's so many sites out there. Any recommendations on supplier? I take MedExpress. I use MedExpress. I'm kind of not going to move now, but they're not the best or the cheapest. I wish I had written down, I found someone, if you know of this site, tell me in the comments, but someone told me about a site that is actually just a tracker of all the prices and all the suppliers. The prices vary wildly. Like from £110 for the 2.5 to as much as 300 for the 15. I would say the average is about 140 for the first dose, about 200 for the 15, and that seems fairly average. Some sites are, I would say, are more diligent in terms of they're actually a prescribing pharmacy, and some aren't. Some you're basically paying a monthly charge for a subscription. There's so many out there. I only know of MedExpress, and they've been okay. Every now and then they're very slow. Let me just catch up. Well, what you read, I don't know. Doesn't. The microdosing terminology thing, everyone I've ever seen mention microdosing means taking a short dose. They're saying microdosing when they mean they're taking a smaller dose from a bigger pen. But the guy I've mentioned in a few of my videos, I think it's Dr. Joseph Jenkins. He's the one that's a doctor in the field in this field, and he's lost 140 pounds or something. He's the one I tend to rely on for the science, and it's him that talked about microdosing being an actual pharmaceutical term, and the fact that Mounjaro's therapeutic dose is actually meant to be 5 milligrams. So anything below 5 milligrams is a microdose. But it tends to be something used to either for people to maintain or to wean off. If you're taking a smaller dose because of side effects, I wouldn't personally call it microdosing. Compound semaglutide. I have heard of compounded. I think this is the thing you can only really get in the States, and then it became illegal. But I looked at that, and one of the reasons I looked at it is I think you can get it in vials rather than the pens. So I thought, me being a lady, 60-year-old, that I would not lose much, but I've lost 2 stone in 8 weeks. Excellent. That's good. 2 stone in 8 weeks is phenomenal. TDEE calculator. Thanks, James. I'm going to write that down because I always forget what it's called. TDEE. Yeah, that's what you want. Don't look up BMI. Don't look up anything that calls it BMR or BMI or something. It's TD. I have to say, I use my Fitness Pal to track my calories, and when I first put all my information in there, it gave me a number. I've since found other TDE calculators, and the number is about right. But I would recommend get some kind of tracker. You can get them free apps. It's far easier to be accurate if you use an app like that. 32 milligrams, 32 grams for. I take it the 32 grams for the needles I get with MedExpress aren't 32. I'm sure they're 31 and 5 mil. There seems to be a difference between suppliers about what needles, and I think it's because the quick pens from Lilly don't come with needles. The provider provides needles, and different providers will provide different needles, but I think they're always between 4 and 6 millimeters and about 31, 32. I have to say, the syringes I got recently, I'd been using 12 millimeter 30 grams, and I changed them because some of the comments I got from you guys about the fact that despite what Amazon says, these things are not sterile. So I got ones from UK Medi, and they're 32 grams, and I used them for the first time last week, and I have to say they're very flimsy. I found it a lot harder to get the syringe into the quick pen without fear of it bending, and it was a lot harder to extract, but painless to inject. Hi, rainy days. Got the needles online, about £8 for 90. Yeah, I've heard they're real cheap. I've just not bothered because I think I've got like 15 still sitting. I'm sure I'll catch up now that I'm on 7.5 mil from a 15 pen, and I'm injecting every 5 days. Have to go to put the kids to bed. Okay, Alex, what's the rest? Yeah. My plan for this video is when we finish, I'm not going to edit anything. It seems to be, I could edit out the chaff, I could edit out all the nonsense, I could edit out all the ums and buts and maybes, but my understanding is if I edit it, the live chat won't be there. And I always feel if you're watching a replay of a live video, it's useful to be able to see the chat. So I'm not going to do anything with it. It will just be up there for anyone who wants to watch it. I was thinking of buying a higher dose pen, but still only dosing 2.5 milligram. Any thoughts on using the same pen over a few months? Yes, that seems to be one of the most common questions. I want to stress, if you want to follow the manufacturer's recommendations, you do not do this. If you want to follow the manufacturer's recommendations, when you first inject, the pen gets kept out of the fridge and only for 30 days. So you could potentially squeeze a 5th dose out of it time-wise, but you're not going to get more than that. It's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, done. That has never made any sense to me and a lot of other people. When I first came on, when I first started taking Mounjaro, I didn't just find any old vlogger like any old idiot like myself. I looked for the doctors, the people in the medical profession, to see what they were saying. And yes, you do get the odd one who's saying, don't do this. But most of the ones that are commenting on it seem to say, and I've had this from prescribing physicians, that it's entirely safe to keep for longer than 30 days if you keep it in the fridge and you follow all the guidance about cleaning things and keeping things clean. So that's what I've decided. I've decided if there's a risk, I'm considering it an acceptable risk. But I'll tell you what I've told everyone: it's your decision. You have to be the arbiter of your own medicine. Now, if you're getting this through your insurance or NHS, then don't do that. You follow the advice of the doctor or the chemist who's prescribing to you. But for everyone else, I can't see the logic between paying £200 for 4 injections versus £200 for 10 injections. It makes no sense to me. But it's definitely not what's recommended. It's just what people do. Where are we? I was thinking of buying a higher dose. If you're not a drinker, I know you're not a drinker, but as you've said, you have the odd cocktail. Yeah, the very odd cocktail. I during the pandemic, I got into classic cocktails. When I say classic, I mean I'm a cocktail drinker that likes boozy cocktails. I don't like cocktails with lots of mixers. So I got into my favourite cocktail for a while was a Negroni, which is just gin, Campari, and martini, or an old fashioned, which is just bourbon and some Angostura bitters. But I only ever have one. Very, very odd occasion I'll have 2, and that tends to be when someone else is around. But it was really interesting to me. It's definitely not an every night thing. It's probably 1 or 2 a week. When I started thinking I needed to start counting calories, I had a look at there was a cocktail I made called a Nilla wafer martini. It's 2 parts vanilla vodka and 2 parts amaretto, and I counted the calories on it, and it was about 600 calories. So I think drink for me, it's a known quantity in that I'm not a drinker. I don't do it. I don't go out drinking every day, other than when I'm visiting my friends. And I think there are some people who struggle to lose weight and drink pints, drink Guinness, and I think that's I don't believe for a second Mounjaro will control any appetite for drinking. But I can't comment on it because I don't have an appetite for drinking other than a cocktail and weirdly in the bath. I know I drink lots of people do it, Richard. Cheapest way, Richard, you're answering the question about, yeah, lots of people do it. There are people who are taking 1.75 milligrams from a 15 milligram pen. My take on it is going to be, I will use the pen as long as I've been keeping everything sterile, everything clean, and it's been in the fridge. I'll use it up to its expiry date. That's my view on it. But I have to stress, I've had people in the comments who have contacted Lily and asked the question, and Lily say no. I think they're covering their arse or they're covering their behind. I think they have to build a product which can stand people not being able to use it right. They have to build a product that can stand people keeping it in a drawer and using it with dirty hands in a dirty environment and not injecting properly. If you inject properly, you stick it in, you fill, and there is, I think, almost zero risk of any fluid from your body going back into the syringe. But I think Lily have to build it based on the fact that there are some people that might not be able to use it. And I think that's what all the 30 days thing is, personally. Buy her, so it's cheaper, but only take, yeah, that's Karen, there's Karen doing that as well. I personally did buy the 32 milligram 4 microgram ultra pen needles from Penta Point. Not the cheapest, but a reputable provider. If you want a referral, let me know. The 32 microfine ultra pen needles. If you can just confirm, Fahed, when you talk about the 32 milligram 4, are you talking about for the quick pen? If you are, I would be interested in that link, because, or UK Med is where I go, because there are, and can you confirm that they work with they work the same as the quick pen? Because that seems like a good one. Where would I skip too far? I skipped too far and I've lost where I was. Oh my God. Oh. Right, here we go. Medicine Marketplace is generally, Medicine Marketplace, that's a good link to try and find some Mounjaro price. So Medicine Marketplace, that's the comparison site to look for. Just changed supplier for 15 milligram to pen. Previous supplier was 205, new supplier 100. That's a massive difference. So yeah, go to Medicine Marketplace if you're looking to change suppliers. Have you thought about split dosing, half a dose twice per week to keep a steady level within your system? Okay, so based on my video today, I think of split dosing as something that people do when their side effects are too bad. So they take their weekly dose across more than one injection. That's split dosing to me. Technically, I guess what I do is split dosing, but I'm not splitting. I'm taking my full dose, but I'm taking it more frequently. And I do it for exactly the reason you're mentioning, Dave, Dave Big Socks. I do it exactly for the reason you're talking about. I'll explain that in a second when we go to the GLP one site. If still on a 2-pack, can you buy a 5-pen? Yeah, I think most suppliers will not let you buy bigger pens if you haven't already been on smaller doses, but I think most suppliers kind of want you to push. They want you to try to type. Some push it too much, but I think if you're on been 2.5, you can buy a 5 next. You can buy a 7.5 after that, a 10 after that, and that's how I used full doses on my 2.5s, my 5s, my 7.5s, and I haven't been on a full dose since. I've gone up through the 10, the 12.5 to the 15, and I've stuck with 7.5. My friend jabs 2.5 every 72 hours. What's 72 hours? Is that 3 days? Yeah. So for me, that's about the same as taking a 5 every month. But you need to look at GLP-1 plotter to see how much is actually on your system. I get asked a lot of questions about the taking every 5 days when people are on 2.5 moving up to 5. And I always tell them the same. It's the only jump I wouldn't recommend it. And I'll explain why in a second. I just want to quickly see if I've not answered anything. I've just ordered mine. Thank God I've just ordered mine yesterday from them too, but the 15 days haven't contacted me. Are they legit? From them too. I think they're all, I don't think you can sell it without being legit. I think you need license to sell it, to be honest. Hi Gordon, I'm with SheMed and the first pen was 99. That's good. With all medications in case side effects. If it chat about all subsequent pens are 150. Yeah, I think there are a few like that don't move up. However, one of the considerations is there are some suppliers that are very, very militant about when you buy, and if you don't get a new pen within 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, they start saying you're going to have to go back to the base dose. How I originally handled that is I just completely ignored MedExpress when they texted me or emailed me say it's time to get your new pen. I just took it as marketing. Now what I do, because I'm getting to the stage now that I might eventually need to be on a lower dose for a while, I order one every 4 weeks, and I keep it in the fridge. I've got two boxes sitting in the fridge unopened. I've got one pen unused, and I'm halfway through, or almost finished another pen. The expiry dates on these pens are December 2026. So short of a power cut, touch wood, I'm happy with that. I haven't heard back from myself. Are there chronometer? Are there chronometers great for counting calories? I find it better. Oh yeah, sorry. I was confused. Yeah, there's a lot out there. I've just used my FitnessPal for so long, I get used to it. But I think anything that's not just you guessing is going to be good. Keeping a log is good. Keeping a log that's accurate is better. A climbing question. Joe is asking a climbing question. What's the best climbing gym you've been to in Scotland? Without doubt, the Climbing Hangar in Edinburgh. I climb in TCA, the Climbing Academy. Love the Climbing Academy. I'm loyal to it. I'm a wee bit pissed off with our setting just now. And I used to go every now and then to Eden Rock in Edinburgh, but when the Climbing Hangar opened, I just love it. Unfortunately, it's 2.5 hours away from my house. I would go there every week if I could. I've got everything crossed for them opening one in Glasgow. There's a new one opening in Glasgow, but the Climbing Hangar, by far, I like the most. Sadly, I live in Isle of Man. I can only get boots. Boots are. I've heard boots are the most expensive. When you say you can only get it in Isle of Man, does that mean UK providers won't provide to the Isle of Man? I thought the Isle of Man was part of the UK. That's unfortunate. Is it already charged me? Bobby Ryder. What did Bobby? I think I haven't heard back. Yeah. Who had you not heard back from? Sorry, I missed that. BG&H. Thank God. I just ordered mine yesterday from. Yeah, I mean, they're not all. My longest is I ordered from MedExpress, and it took them 16 days to send me it. I was raging with them. I contacted them a lot, and their customer care is, to be honest, quite terrible. When I ordered my first pen, I ordered it on a Thursday, 3 o'clock, and it arrived on the Friday. But the record is 16 days. And I think I did a video because it meant when I was supposed to be starting to take my injection, I couldn't. And within 3 days of not taking it, I was starving. Richard, keep up buying and keep checking. I'm just checking what I've missed. Was thinking next pen I'll buy is 15. Yeah, definitely. If you can, I would say buy the biggest pen they'll let you buy, to be honest. Just about to start. What supplements? I'll let other people comment here, and if I see the comment, I'll mention it. If not, you can look back. I don't take supplements. I'm not that focused on it. I might get more focused on it as I get closer to my ideal weight. With the exception of I did an extended fast, and when I did an extended fast, I fasted for 5 days. I took supplements then, but it was just basically salts for rehydration, etc. But I think I've done a lot of looking into supplements, and the recommendation always seems to be you're far better at getting it from food if you can. But I'm sure there's nothing wrong with taking supplements. Yeah, Alan McCowan. Hi, Alan. How you doing? I don't have an alcohol appetite. All I would say is when I was staying with my friends, the term funnel face would have fitted my description well. But I can't imagine anyone here who drinks, who's on Mounjaro, does it do anything to curb your appetite for alcohol? And I can't see how it would, but maybe it does. Where are we? Just about to start. What supplements? That's good. Just make sure the order. Yeah, Richard, they won't let you. Gordon, the site for the UK GPHC registered pharmacies, so legit. Yeah, it's called Monj. A Google search will find it. I'm just writing that down as well. Yeah, I mean, when I was very nervous when I first ordered. I thought there must be loads of people here that are selling it dodgily, and I don't think I found any. The only thing I found is the prices varied dramatically. There's Claire answering the supplements question: MTS multivitamin, magnesium, omega-3, collagen, psyllium husk. I came across that recently when I was looking at. Yeah, I mean, all of these are things I've seen, and I think if it's good, then I don't think any of them are a waste. If it's not that stupid thing that gets advertised all over Netflix, over YouTube, that's green, which seems to be a complete waste of time, then a lot of these things are recognised as good to have. So nice to hear you live. So nice to be heard live. It would be. I think it would be far better if I could hear you guys. Maybe we'll do a massive Zoom meeting the next time. Yeah, for people who are taking lower doses from their pens, can they leave a gap of a couple of months before reordering? Yeah, or would your prescriber want to know? My longest delay between ordering a pen was 7 weeks, and they just kept chasing me, like in a marketing sense. When I ordered the next pen, they didn't question it. However, I've had commenters who have said, from, I think it was Lloyd's was one of them, Lloyd's Chemist, after 5 weeks, they were saying, if you don't order now, well, you'll have to go back to the starter dose. So I think different subscribers, different prescribers do it differently. As I say, the way I've done it, and it's just the way I've chosen to do it after my 6 months, is I'm stockpiling. Not because of the impending doom, but just because I don't want to get into discussing with them about. I certainly wouldn't be telling a prescriber that you're getting a higher pen in short dosing, because I think they would just have an issue with that. Where was I? This keeps skipping, really annoying. I wish I could. They seem to. No, okay. We've got that. Nothing to lose. I'm sure you can get cheaper elsewhere, but I wanted to make sure I buy from a predictable shop. Yeah, for me, that was important. I wanted to make sure I wasn't dealing with somewhere dodgy. MTS helpful to have a psyllium husk to, yeah. Oh, so psyllium husk can help with constipation. That's interesting. I might try that. Alan McCown. We have a friend who is with SheMed, and they make it a contract, and they dictate the terms and dosage she takes. So chance of short dosing or going off piste. That for me, I think I wouldn't like. But conversely, would they know if you were ordering it every 4 weeks, but not and keeping it in the fridge for use later? Don't know. Thank you, Senor Blondie. Looking fit. Feeling fit, feeling dramatically fit. One of the things I get on my channel all the time, I'll need to change the channel from Fat Old Climber, and then I tell people I'm still like between 30 and 40 kilos heavier than a lot of the young fit people I climb with. No chance. What's the no chance answer to? Something I said to you, Alan, I can't remember what. Fad, they're all regular pharmacies. So yeah, so I think what Barbara is saying, they are pharmacies. They can't. I don't think anyone's running this out the boot of their car. I think you're going to have to change your channel. There you go, Senior Blonde talking about changing the channel name. Oh, it jumped again. Damn. Where are we? Most pharmacies are fairly strict. Yeah. Liam, yeah, I mean, MedExpress might have been being strict. I just took it as marketing, and then when I ignored it, they didn't do anything. Orders from Juniper last week. Delivery never came. Customer service is useless. There you go. There's an anti-recommendation for Juniper, and I guess that's going to be it. My whole way of looking at life is, if something's cheap, there's a reason for it. And I think if people are finding shortcuts, normally the shortcuts, I think, will be in some way in service. The thing I get pissed off with MedExpress for is I suspect there was a shortage, and they just wouldn't tell me there was a shortage. And the reason I was pissed off is if you're ordering a 10 milligram pen and they're delaying and they have 7.5 milligram, I'll take a 7.5 milligram pen rather than have to wait. But oh, James, I've got 4 pens in the fridge. Yeah, that for me, I think that's the best way to do it. Keep them in the fridge, and you won't go wrong. Thanks, Bob. True. Electrolytes are your best friend to stave off headaches. I think, for me, my understanding of taking electrolytes is it's only required if you're not taking enough water or if you're fasting. But I've started taking electrolytes in my water when I go climbing. But I think that's just because dehydration is one of these things that comes along with taking Mounjaro. Gordon, do you know what provider allows the longest time? I've been with MedExpress and they allow 8 weeks, but looking to try another provider since. I don't know. MedExpress, I've never gone 8 weeks, and as I say, my plan now is order it every 4 weeks and keep it in the fridge. And then once I've got enough, I'll just stop ordering. And if they get pissed off, I'll just go elsewhere when I need a new pen. Maybe some people can answer here if there's a provider that actually says. I don't think they're going to say how long, because they want you to. They are going to stick to the recommended the recommendation from the manufacturer, which is 4 weeks, and I think they would have a problem if they started allowing it to be more than 4 weeks. Zoom meeting sounds great, yeah. Gordon's just mentioned it, but Monj, yes, the Zoom sounds great. I take collagen. Yeah, I was looking at collagen, but mainly for my climbing. I need to get this whole thing sorted out. I've been 6 months in, and I really still haven't got serious about paying attention to what I'm eating. Take collagen. Yep. I went to the local pharmacy and they had to contact my GP as I'm diabetic, and then the GP phone. Yeah. MedExpress did the checkup. They contacted my doctor. My doctor was completely disinterested, I have to say. But yeah, I think they're all quite good. The psyllium husk and chronic fiber are good, but you have to remember to drink plenty of fluids. Yeah, drink plenty of water. That for me is the most important thing. MedExpress customer service are very bad. I think calling MedExpress customer service very bad is mild. After my 16-day debacle, I asked them. I used their complaint system to ask them for a more formal way to complain to senior management or senior people, and their reply, which took 2 days, was to use their complaint system that I used. Drinking 2 liters of fluid a day sorts constipation. Yeah. Again, that's one of those things. 2 liters of fluid. How many liters of fluid you need to drink kind of depends on how big you are and how much exercise you do. But certainly 2 liters of fluid isn't going to be a problem. It isn't going to be a bad thing. Change warehouse locations. That's why they were a hold up. Yeah, I heard that was one of their excuses, that they changed places. Yeah, I saw on my last order from MedExpress that they mentioned a couple of doses that they had a shortage of. I know when the Monj doesn't even recommend them. That's interesting. Just bought 2 months bundle with my provider. That's quite good. My son has just started via MedExpress. How do you order more for next month? Or is it's not automatic? You order more. They'll let you order within 2 weeks of your previous order. So I would say, particularly if you've just started, order as soon as you can, if you can afford to get it. But it's not automatic. It's not theirs isn't one of the automatic ones. I've never had a problem getting a pen from Eric. I've never had a problem. It's just been there've been a couple of times that it took a lot longer. I was basing it on how quick I got it at the beginning. Thank you, Apes Henry. I'm feeling healthy. Got a comment on one of my videos saying I looked 15 years older from the previous video. That's good. Medino are good, but they monitor weight loss fairly strictly. You have to take a photo. Yeah, MedExpress, after 6 months, they said we need a photo to prove that you're still... I'm interested in that because I don't look as obese as I was when I started, but I know I've still got a lot of weight to lose. So I don't know how it'll be once they start. Yeah, I'm going to go to GLP plotter in a second. Late to the chat, so apology if you're already discussing. Sean was obviously one of these 18-minute people. Have you spoke to many people that have come off it? I haven't spoke to anyone who've come off with it. I've seen a lot of... here's the problem with YouTube, and I try not to be like this. Every now and then I have a wee play at it, but there's a lot of clickbait out there. There's a lot of people that will make a comment of, you know, the video will say it's a disaster, you'll never come off it, and then you watch the video and the guys explain how to come off it. For me, I think that there's a guarantee as soon as you stop taking it, your normal system will kick back in. Hunger will kick back in, cravings will kick back in, the internal voice will kick back in. I'm not concerned with the hunger. Over the years, I can be hungry and not eat. I don't have a problem with that. My problem has always been I'm sitting watching the telly. Oh, I really fancy a biscuit. It doesn't matter how hungry I am. It doesn't matter how full I am. My problem has always been I eat rubbish and I eat a lot of it. And my plan, my hope, my desire is that after maybe up to a year of being fitter and climbing regularly and having developed the habit that I don't just succumb to that internal voice, I'll find it easier to have healthier habits and make healthier choices. But I won't know that until I get to it. And I'm trying not to worry about it while I'm focused on losing weight. That included the click count calculations. The click count calculations, I've included that in about 4 videos, and it seems to be one of these things. I've got a fairly logical brain, so I kind of don't. I get confused when people ask me a question that I think I've just explained. For me, the most interesting thing is 60 clicks is a full dose. And then if you're taking less than a full dose, what percentage of the full dose are you taking? And apply that percentage to the 60. 7.5 milligrams from a 15 milligram pen is half. Half 60 is 30. For me, it's that black and white. It gets a bit confusing when you're taking 7.5 milligrams from a 12.5 milligram pen. But if you haven't seen my latest video, I posted a little handy dandy chart, which you can just look up any dose from any pen and it'll tell you how many clicks. If you don't already know, if you're using a syringe to get the golden dose, insulin syringes are not marked in milliliters, they're marked in units, and the units are the same as the clicks. 60 units is a full dose. So if you're taking half a dose and you've worked out the click count and it's 30 clicks, and you need to use an insulin syringe, it's 30 units. I don't know if I assume it's just coincidence. Can you share a GLP? Yep, I'm going to do that. Where am I? I think I've gone too far. What do you think about splitting it? Right, okay. So I'm going to quickly answer the GLP questions. Let me go to GLP on my other monitor first. Right. I'm going to try and share the screen. Oh, wait a minute. I better get you back because otherwise I will be confused and I don't know where you've gone. If you wonder why I'm looking over here, I've got 2 monitors. Sometimes confuses people. I'll move that over my face because I don't need to see my face. And then I shall share the screen, hopefully. So if you can't see it, I apologize. The GLP plotter, I think, has been the best thing ever. I'm on 7.5 milligrams of, and you put in Mounjaro. You can put in a start date if you want. There's no point doing 12 weeks because it levels off about 4 or 5 weeks. So I say about 5 weeks. And a normal dose is every 7 days. And you just say plot. And it shows you the plot. And the way to look at it, interestingly, I now can't see the chat, so I don't know what you guys are saying, if anything. It's annoying that the chat disappears when I'm not looking at it. So the way it works is the peak is injection day, the trough is day 7. So on a 7.5 milligram dose, by the time it levels off, this is how much of tirzepatide is in your system. It builds up because it's not completely left your system when you inject next, if that makes sense. So it doesn't start at 7.5. It also doesn't start at 7.5 the first time because your body doesn't take all of the dosage. It doesn't take it all when you inject, and that's affected by injection site as well, I guess. But it levels off about 10 milligrams on injection day with a trough of half that. And that seems to be a pattern. If you inject every 7 days, you'll start off with a high that'll be higher than the dosage of the pen, and your trough will be about half that. That's how this thing works. How I play with it is I'll say, okay, so what's a 10 milligram pen? 10 milligram pen every 7 days. The high is 14 and the low is about 7. So what I wanted to do was explore the every 5 days thing. Now, I have a spreadsheet. I'm going to go to the spreadsheet, and hopefully it won't be over confusing. I need to stop sharing and share a spreadsheet. I need to find the chat. Let me find the chat first, because if I can't see the chat, restore chat, nothing here to see. Oh, let me just have a quick look to see if anyone's asking any questions about what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so this table, down this side here is all the different doses of pens. I've got a 6.75 milligram bit in it. Let me just take that out because that's just going to confuse things. So these are all the different pens you can get, and these are schedules. I'm going to take out the 4s as well because, again, that was me just doing a wee bit of exploration myself. Bear with me, peeps. Right, so what this is basically showing is the output from all of the GLP tracker data. So when you take a 7.5 milligram pen every 7 days, the high is 10.82, the low is 5.53. So when you take a 10 milligram every 7 days, the high is 14. That's the comparison. So the way that I'm comparing is if you look at this line here, if I take a 7.5 milligram every 5 days, the high is about the same as taking a 10. It's about the same, but the low is higher. So what it means is your trough, that period when you have less in your system isn't as bad. But you've generally, it's a more level graph. To answer someone's question, it's leveling off. Now, hopefully that makes sense. I'll catch up in a second, but let me explain. Anyone that's on 2.5 and thinking instead of going up to 5, I'm going to move to every 5 days. Let me explain why I don't think that's a good idea. If you're on 2.5 and your high is 3.6 and your low is 1.84, and if you're thinking, I don't want to go up to 5, but I feel like on day 6 and 7, it's wearing off. If you take 2.5 every 5 days, the high is nowhere near as high as when you take a 5, and the low isn't even as high as the low when you take 5. So you just do not get the same boost going from 2.5 to 5 as you do from any other improvement. So if you go from a 5, if you, instead of taking 7.5 every 7 days, you take 5 every 5 days, it's about the same, but the low is higher. Every other dosage, the low is higher than taking a higher dose. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of a confusing thing to try and explain, but all I would say is, let me just pop out the chat and I can look at it properly to see what folk are saying. Probably loads of folks saying, what the hell are you talking about, you idiot? Medic can show us the GLP plotter and explain all the buttons. Not sure what a couple of them do. Panda Poo Blanchard, if you can tell me if I have answered your questions about GLP plotter. If you have specific questions about some of the buttons, then let me know what buttons and I'll see if I can help. I really loved your latest video. Ooh, that's just an email from Medicine Market. Need to fill in a form. Have you had a pen in the post for a bit long? Yes, Andy. My record with MedExpress is 4 days. They say it's safe for 4 days. They send it. They send it overnight, and they say you get an email at 10 o'clock saying it's on its way, and then it doesn't get shipped till the next day. I don't know where it's been sitting for that day. Has it been boxed for that day? And then it arrives 24 tracked, no signature required, and the Royal Mail don't leave it if I'm not in. So it comes back the next day. So what I've started doing, and this is a tip for anyone that's concerned about the post not delivering it, when I order it, I put my address in. I put my first line of address, and my second line of address I put leave at the back door if I'm not in, and that's fixed the problem. But yeah, it was still cold, but I was a wee bit worried at what point does it stop being effective. But definitely doesn't have to be next day, but a couple of days, maybe 3 days is fine. Assuming whoever your supplier is ships it refrigerated. That's obviously a big thing. Haha, as my mate says, I didn't get fat from being hungry. I'll tell you my favourite thing I heard recently when I was looking at fasting. I'm going to be doing a video on this, anyone that's interested in fasting. I've been intermittent fasting for well over a year, and I'd never heard of extended fasting, surprisingly. But when I started looking at how to deal with loose skin, I found out some stuff about something called autophagy, which can help your body repair itself, and one of the things it can do is bring back your elasticity of loose skin. So I started looking at, and apparently there are people that fast for 3, 5, 7, 20 days. So I started looking into that, and why am I talking about this? Someone had asked a question. Yeah, so one of the things I heard, obviously, if you're fasting for that length of time, 20, 30 days, you need to be overweight. And the comment that someone said when they asked if it was safe or not is, yeah, it's hard to starve to death if you're wearing all your food. And I thought that is a fantastic definition of what fat is. So just a heads up, I'll be doing a video, but I did a 5-day fast and it was fantastic. I have to say, I will definitely be, I've got my daughter coming up at the weekend, so I'm not going to do it this week, but next week I'm going to do another one. Would have a little food noise and hunger along the journey help with yes, Claire, I get this comment all the time. Surely you want to be able to build up your resistance to the food noise on day 6 and 7. I absolutely do, just not just now. Right now I'm focused on one thing. I want to get as much weight off as I can, as quickly as I can, get down to what I consider to be my target weight, and then I'll start building up resistance to food noise. So I'm not going to stay on. Sorry, I just read someone saying sulfur burps, and I read it as burpees, and I thought, who the hell is suggesting burpees? how do you kick people out of a chat? But yeah, I will. Claire, you're right. It's not a bad thing to have that food noise, and I think if you want, it's a completely appropriate way to deal with it, just to live with it. I'm not interested in anything other now than the drug being as effective as it can be, and then maybe 3 months I'll start thinking about building up my resistance. Did you get the runs in sulfur bucks? And no, 7 point. I've never had any what I would call adverse side effects. Never. When I made the mistake of going to 5 days and upping the dose to 10 milligrams, you may have seen that video. I got other side effects, but it was just a weird taste in my mouth. I've never had the runs at all. Would having a little bit, Claire, yes. The video was really helpful. Thanks, Claire. It helps click it. Yep. So wait a minute. Someone's recommended a video. Fahed. It helps with click count and needle doses. Right. What do you think about splitting dose every 3.5 days? On one side, I'm thinking it's a good because it keeps a stable level, but on the other hand, it cycles calories, so it could be good for BMR. I don't understand the cycles calories. Someone has recommended a video. Sorry, Fad, you're telling me to check something out, and I'm not quite sure what you're telling me to check out. Sorry, that video was, someone's mentioning a video, and I can't find the video they were talking about. That's really annoying. This chat's a pain to. There's 73 people. I wonder how the hell do people deal with lots of folk? Can someone just put in the chat again what video Fahed's talking about that I need to check out? It seemed to be YouTube removes links. Someone put in a link. Yeah. It was a comprehensive worksheet. Sorry. It seems YouTube removes links. That's why I was telling you to check it out. Yeah. So what's the title of the video? Not the link. And I'll put that in. For me, 3.5 seems extreme every 3.5 days. However, there are people that do it because the one I've heard more than anything is when people can't take 2.5, they take 1.75 every half week. It seems to be more something that's beneficial for excessive side effects. But that for me is lowering the amount of drug in your system. What I was looking to do was increase the amount of drug in my system without upping the size of the dosage I was taking. That's why I moved. So moving from 7 to 5 for me was about increasing the amount in my system without increasing the size of the injection I was taking. Makes sense. Mounjaro is a game changer. Really looking forward to the pill. Yeah, the pill form. I've heard. I mean, I genuinely believe that the GLP-1 world we're only scratching the surface right now. A few years ago, this didn't exist. There's already a third one, semaglutide, tirzepatide, and I can't remember the one that's already in trials, which is even more effective than either of the two that are out there. So once it comes out in pill, I think it'll be cheaper, it'll be easier to take, and yeah, I agree. Joe's sleeping slim down journey. Let's see those prices come down. I've just completed a 3-day extended fasting. Oh, you're right. The autophagy is. I can't get that word. Autophagy is an important thing. You put all the weight back on. Well, I didn't. In my 5-day fast, I lost 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds. And over the course of the following 2 weeks, I only put 3 back on. So I still lost 6. But for me, I wasn't doing the fasting for me was about exploring this autophagy thing. It wasn't about trying to extend how much weight I was losing. But I'll definitely do it again. I'm considering moving to alternate day fasting, where I'll eat one day, not the next. But I just like exploring this stuff, to be honest. I've been intermittent fasting due to thought it's a really interesting subject. It's a fascinating subject. One of the guys I found, can't remember his name, he fasted for almost 200 days or something. It's just crazy. Day 2, energy kicked in, but I was a bit scared of going too far. Yeah, I'll be interested to speak to people who've done extended fasting not on Mounjaro, because I think it would be a wee bit of a different case, I have to say. I'm about to start Mounjaro. Any tips, Mark? Yes. Any tips? Yeah, enjoy it. Don't expect it to make you lose weight. I think that's the thing that I think is the biggest myth people have, that Mounjaro or Ozempic makes you lose weight. It changes something in your body that means you can eat what you like and you lose weight. It will change your appetite. Changing your appetite means you'll be eating less. The way I put it to people, you could take Mounjaro, have your appetite suppressed, and push through and eat as much as you like and not lose any weight. So depending on your habits, it's like, if you don't expect to take Mounjaro and still go to the pub every night, your behaviors will change, and if they don't change, the weight won't change, as would be my only advice. I was concerned about starting to take it. I was concerned about sticking a needle in my gut, and none of that was a problem. I found it such a painless experience, mentally and physically, and I genuinely wish I'd found it years ago. The moment you're getting scared, stop the fast. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I would say that the reason why an extended fast works, because your body is in control. When your brain starts stressing, yeah, that's a fair point, Joe. What I did mean by cycling calories, if it keeps a deficit continuously, then my body gets used to it and lowers my metabolism. Whereas by increasing it up gradually and then down again. Oh, you're talking about instead of intermittent fasting. Yeah. I find my eating doesn't change based on what day a week my injections are. I kind of just eat the same thing every day. It's how hard it is to do that I was focused on fixing, if that makes sense. So my eating is, I'm not eating less some days than others, with the exception of climbing days when I eat more because I need more energy. I think that's what you're talking about. To see how you did your yeah. I plan to do that video. I just haven't got around to it. I filmed loads of vlogging stuff while I was doing it, and then I just haven't got around to making the video. There's so much else been going on. I'd like to say thanks to your videos, which helped me so much. Yeah, you're welcome, Andy. I did the 10-day fast. 10-day fast. Stop. Yeah, I've heard this, stopping feeling hungry after 2 days, and I didn't get that obviously because I wasn't hungry to start with. That's good. That's good to. And I've heard I didn't get the energy boost when I did my fasting. I didn't feel lethargic, but I definitely look forward to trying it when I'm not on Mounjaro. That's amazing, Joe. I did a 5-day fast a few years ago, and it was very clear-headed, and yeah, that's what I want. And I didn't feel that I was getting all those benefits that a lot of the people on YouTube were talking about. Sorry if you've already discussed it. I didn't see from the start. Why have you decided to stick with your current dosage, and do you see yourself moving on to higher? Yeah, okay, so what I would recommend, if you haven't watched my video, I can't put a link in. It's the one that's titled, in a quite clicky way, Mounjaro, don't up your dose until you've watched this. Okay, that's the title of the video. So I'm speaking to you now. Oh, I can't. IGXOM. I love it when people put user IDs that folk can't pronounce. But watch that video. I recommend it. It's called "Don't up your dose until you watch this video." So the reason I did it was because I was upping the dose. I wanted to up the dose, but there was only a couple of days a week that I felt it was a problem. And when I started looking into it, when I started exploring what would I do about that, that's when I stumbled across Dr. Joseph Kevin Joseph, and he was talking about this 5-day period. Mounjaro's half-life is 5 days. Lilly, or the drug providers, decided, I think in their infinite wisdom, that the average user couldn't handle inject themselves every 5 days, need to be a weekly thing, so they stuck it the same as Ozempic, but it doesn't work the same way as Ozempic. And when I started to explore the difference taking it every 5 days would make, I realized that not only would it get rid of this day 6 and 7 lull, I was actually on average having more in my system than I would if I moved up to 10. So I managed to get the benefit of moving up to 10 without increasing the dosage I was taking. So from a cost effectiveness point of view, my pen was going to last longer, basically. That's why I did it. Yeah, David Big Socks, love that name. I've only ever done it in the belly. I have no idea how anyone would inject into here. I looked into, I'm like a massive researcher. I never make any decision without researching. Some people, I call it a research, some people call it procrastination. And when I looked into injection sites, I did my normal. You get people who are saying this site's the best, or that site's the best, or don't do it this way, do it that way. But the thing I found more than anything is it's to do with a lot of things which are totally dependent on your body. The most important thing is it has to be injected into subcutaneous fat. There are people with fat in their belly with no fat. The big muscular guys this. I mean, look at that. There's hardly any fat there. It's gone down, but and my legs are the same. They're not as fatty as my belly. So I just picked my belly because it was the fattiest bit. It was the biggest target. But again, Kevin Joseph has a video on injection sites, and he goes through the science. He always goes through research papers. He always goes through clinical trials. And what was shown is you might inject in the belly and get side effects. So the recommendation is move to another site, and the side effects will be lower. But the reason the side effects are lower is because the bioavailability of that area is less. The drug is working less, if that makes sense. So yes, if you're moving for side effects, then do that. But it seems to be in all the clinical trials that the area with the best bioavailability was the stomach. But it's not by much. I think it was like by 5%. So my recommendation is always pick the site that you're comfortable injecting into. Some people might find it horrific, the idea of injecting something into their stomach, whereas their leg is fine. So based on you, I've just always I find it easy to just pull my t-shirt, look down, stab, and I still have plenty to hold on to. I still have plenty, despite folks saying I've lost too much weight, which people have started saying. I still have a big chunk of fat that I can inject into. I've got a long way before I worry about being able to inject into subcutaneous fat. Right, okay, what do you mean by cycling calories? I just need to find where I was. Higher dose. Yes, only injecting in the belly. I've never tried the thigh. I don't want to mess with its effectiveness, to be honest. I think if it's not being effective or you're getting side effects, consider moving. I certainly wouldn't do what the Lilly recommends. Lilly recommends cycling sites. And I've yet to find any evidence to suggest that's a good thing to do. Move different areas within the site that you decide to it seems to be the way to do it. I've always wondered if the reason why this establishes 7 days is to actually give time for the gut to come back to regular speed and cleanse before the next dose. What do you think? Well, I don't think that's the case, because that's not how Ozempic works. The Ozempic's half-life is 7 days, and Lilly do Ozempic pens. Plus, it's not that after 7 days all of the drug has gone out of your system. It's still having an impact, just not as big an impact. I think they just think people are idiots, to be honest. Maybe I'm being too cynical there. Hi, Gordon. I totally suppressed my alcohol. Oh, there you go. Jim Evans answering my question about alcohol cravings. Totally suppressed. That's good to hear, because I've got a friend, through a friend who started it, and his concern was he's a big pub drinker. So having said that, a friend I was staying with recently, the one that likes to go to the pub, he's not interested in doing it, but I was chatting to someone in the pub, and we were talking about would it work for them. And a lot of these people that are pub drinkers, I'm not a pub drinker generally, people are pub drinker, a lot of them aren't going because they have an alcohol craving. A lot of them, they have a pub craving. It's a society, it's a social thing. And I think unless you were considering sticking to the pub and drinking something different or drinking less, I'd be very interested to find out how my other friend gets on with that. But thanks for that. That's good. That's good information, Jim. If anyone ever asked me that it does suppress alcohol cravings. Hello, congrats on your journey so far. You're the reason I'm supposed to be starting. Going from 25 stone 3 to 21 stone 4 since February. That's incredible. That's fantastic, Joe. And I think that's Mounjaro. I've spoken to a lot of people in Mounjaro who have a very negative view of it, and I think the negative view comes from traditionally celebrities who are a wee bit overweight taking it. I think if you're chronically or clinically overweight and have been for a long time, and you've tried other things, I see this as not cheating. I see it as almost a medical intervention as far as I'm concerned. And whilst I was in two minds about it when I started, I was unsure when I started, I've completely did a 180 on it. It's the best thing since sliced bread as far as I'm concerned. But that's fantastic result, Joe. Pip, I've just lost Pip's ex-Thai girlfriend in weight. One of the people I climb with, I'm 4 kilos from having lost her weight, which it's fantastic. That's it. I absolutely love that. I took my first dose, Ursula. I took my first dose in my thigh, and it was extremely nauseous for days. Took second dose in the belly and feel fine. Yeah, it seems weird that one of the things that injection dose affects is side effects. I don't understand it. My decision was tried the first dose, worked, and I don't want to mess with that. But I do think what you've done, Ursula, is the right thing to do. If you try it and you get bad side effects, one of the recommendations is try a different injection site. I've not done anything other than belly. Works well, easy to administer. I agree, Fad. Joe, only issue with having it at the moment is I'm too scared to go up to 7.5 from 5, as I've been on 5 last 2 months, because when I first started 5, I had severe stomach cramps. Yeah, well, my advice to anyone who's on a dose that's working is don't go up, don't titrate, tritate, whatever it's called. A lot of suppliers will push you, a lot of doctors will push you. If it's working, if your appetite's being suppressed, then there is literally no reason. As I mentioned in my recent video, the therapeutic dose for Mounjaro is 5 milligrams. The other doses only exist for people that need further, I think it's whatever it's control, further control, and it's based on for diabetics. So if you're getting the results you want, don't titrate. I mean, I would certainly get a bigger pen, but because then you're making it more effective, but that's a whole other debate. Just did the medicine market from Ursula, name, address, short video, face and standing. Yeah. The medicine market was the same. It was the same for MedExpress. I can't remember if I had to do a video. Definitely had to do a full body photograph, and what they're trying to verify is, are you as overweight as you say you are? I like the idea of a short video, standing on the scales, showing the weight. That's a good addition. I worry though. I'm a big guy. A lot of my weight is muscle. So when I get to a certain weight and they look at the photograph, are they going to think, wait a minute, you're telling porkies? We'll wait and see. Gabby, yours was the first video I watched before I chose to go Mounjaro, and I've not looked back. Yeah, I hear so much. There is the odd person in my comments I hear, I've been on it 3 months, haven't lost any weight. I only have one piece of advice for people like that. And it's not based on anything about them. I find it hard to believe that it can't work for everyone at a certain dose. I think that by far the most likely reasons it wouldn't work is either you're eating too much or you're not eating enough. I can't fathom it being anything else. So my advice is always the same. Go to the TDE calculator, get an idea how much you should be eating, and do a deficit, but don't do too big a deficit. I've found that in the past when I've been trying to lose weight, and other times I know categorically I can eat too little and not lose weight. So you have to be within that 500-700 calories deficit, and don't believe the TDE. Tweak it based on whether it's working or not. Claire, have you read up in set weight theory? No, unless it's this theory that says your body has a weight that it will try to stick at. I don't know if that's the thing you're talking about. There's a thing that I read recently. I can't remember if it was called set weight. But your body has a weight that it's going to try and stick to, and if you lose weight, it will resist it. Or if you try and put weight, I haven't read up on it. I've heard of it, and if that's what you're talking about, I'll give you my massively cynical view about it. The body hates change. It do everything it wants. You can't, as a fit person, put on a ton of weight quickly. You can put on weight, but my 323 pound body took a lot of years work. And I think what happens is your body, because your body hates change, it'll get to a position where when you're trying to lose weight, it hates change and it's trying to stick to that. I don't believe you're born with a set weight. And the reason I don't believe that is I spent 30 years of my life at 10 and a half stone, for what's that in pounds, 150 pounds. So I know if I have a set weight, then it was half of me. So but I don't know if that's what you're talking about. It could be that I've stuck to 7.5. I said it was getting too strong, but okay now. Yeah, I would say, Gabby, stick to what's working. And if the only reason I'm sticking to 7.5 unless it stops working. If it stops working, I'll go up. I'm black and white about that. I have no concern about upping the dose if it stops working. I reckon a stone, maybe 10 kilos away from what I would consider to be the weight I'm going to start thinking about coming off. One of my biggest worries now is when I reach my goal weight, will I start eating like before and struggle to keep weight off? Yeah, that's Joe. That's the biggest worry I see. I would say I'm not deluded at all. If I stop tomorrow, my hunger would come back. I think it would come back with a vengeance. My food noise, my little internal voice would come back. So the two things I know for certain: one, I'll ease myself off. I will lower the dose. I won't stop. I'll lower the dose over a few months, if need be, until I'm down at a weight that I think, maybe that weight will be, maybe it's not a weight, a dosage. Maybe it'll be 5, maybe it'll be 2.5, where I'm then living with the resisting the urge And then once I'm living with resisting the urge and resisting the urge, I'll try stopping it. There's a plenty of evidence, and Kevin Joseph did a video about this. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that a good thing to do is be on a low dose for 10 weeks, then stop. And then once your weight starts coming back on, go back on it at a low dose, and just over the rest of your life, stick on a very low dose. I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. What I do know is the big difference for me is over the last 20 years that my weight has gone up, I've been a lazy git. I've been very sedentary. Kids were growing up. I wasn't really spending a lot of time exercise. I didn't climb then. I now climb, and I'm now the lightest I've ever climbed. And I think if I was climbing as much as I'm climbing now and started to put on weight, I'd do something about it a lot sooner. I would stop that creep, that slow creep. So if you're losing weight, be active. And I think the more active you are, the easier it will be to not just start putting everything back on. Shotzi app. I looked at the Shotzi app. The Shotzi app for me did exactly what the GLP tracker did. The thing I liked about it was offering similar information to the GLP tracker. The thing I didn't like about it is to keep track of it, you had to subscribe. I hate things that offer something for free and then ask you to pay for it. I think the difference between using the Shotzi app and the GLP tracker is a GLP tracker doesn't know what dose you took last week. It's just giving you data over if I'm on this, what will I do? My understanding of the Shotzi app is you can look, as long as you put your injection in every time you use it, you can basically look at the Shotzi app and know how many milligrams are in your system. So that data's good. And if you don't mind paying for it, then I don't think it was particularly expensive, but it will definitely give you the information you want. What it won't give you is the forecasting. So if I didn't move, if I instead of moving up to 10 every week, what would happen if I took my 7.5 every 5 days? I don't think it will tell you that. Basically, yeah, Claire, that's the thing. I honestly don't subscribe to this set weight thing for the reasons I've said, because I haven't always been this weight. I haven't always been this size. Most of my life, most of my adult life, I was nothing like this now. I do believe your body will develop a lethargy to change, but I don't subscribe to the view that it can't be changed. I'm eating a ready meal for one and 4 thick slices of bread with butter each day and feel fine and have energy. Do you think it's too little? No idea. Sorry, excuse me a second. What I would say, Pip, is go to a TDE calculator, find out how many calories you should be eating, take off a 500-ish deficit, and then look how many calories in your ready meal and how many thick slices of bread. I would say you need to be this specific. Oh, excuse me a second. I apologize there. I clicked mute and didn't mute. Yeah, be specific with if you're working out how many calories your bread and butter is, weigh the butter, and only then will you know if that's enough weight. What I would say, as someone who's been a very lazy eater, the one thing I've heard more than anything is it's going to be easier if you favor protein. The more protein you're eating, the easier it will be to eat less, and that's something I've always known, because protein is the thing that turns off the hunger signal more than anything. But yeah, Pip, figure out what calories you should be taking, figure out what calories you're eating, and that's, I mean, you could be, for all I know, 4'11" and 140 pounds, or you could be 6 foot and 300 pounds, and the answer would be different depending. Which, yeah, Claire, the body doesn't like change, but it will change over time. What protein intake do you recommend? I don't recommend a protein. I think there's enough out there, and I think I don't know what the number is. Is it 9? I think the recommendation is, can't remember. There is a recommendation, but there seems, even the recommendation of how many grams of protein you should intake per pounds of body weight differs from between sites, because one of them, it says that's what it is, and the other says, yeah, but it's pounds of your target body weight. Here's what I do. I'm a lazy git. That's changing as I approach my my ideal weight. I eat 2 meals a day that have protein in them. One is a protein soup, the other is a shepherd's pie. It has meat in it. I like meat. And if I'm climbing, I will eat chicken and bacon sandwiches. I get plenty of protein. If I'm really think I'm short, I'll take a protein shake. I don't think focusing on it is wrong. I just didn't want that to be what my weight loss was about, because I have done this in the past. I've lost, I think my record was 42 pounds in 3 months by focusing on it, and it's the focusing on it I can't sustain. So I wanted a way of eating that I could sustain, and I knew that having to focus on it to that level of detail wasn't what was going to work. Blah, 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 protein intake, losing weight, the excess fat around my waist, I'm struggling. Yeah. It's unfortunate, Steve Iron. The gut weight seems to be it's the hardest to shift. I read years ago, there's a reason for that. I don't know if this is true, but I'll spout this nonsense to you anyway. Your body centralizes energy. So it stores fat in a place that it can access more readily, and that just happens to be the gut. I don't know how true that is. It kind of makes sense for me. But the excess fat around your waist it's always, if you look at anyone, even someone who's not trying to lose weight, if you look at gym rats who are focused on getting a six pack, it's the hardest thing to get. The thing I would say is, what's the phrase? Six packs aren't created in the gym, they're created in the kitchen. So you need to be working your abs, but you need to be definitely, you have to have a really low body fat percentage to have abs, as far as I'm concerned. I'm happy with my one big ab. And again, you won't get toned without exercising. The one thing I'm sure about is I would not have lost as much weight as I've lost if I wasn't climbing 3 times a week. Exercise, particularly strength-based exercise, will help you build muscle. Having muscle will help you lose weight. It seems to be a black and white thing. Here's Thomas. I went right up to 50 milligrams, was as sick as a dog. I lost 18 kilos and kept it off. After speaking to the doctor, I stopped while I was away for 2 weeks, back on 2.5 and moved to 5. Yeah. I mean, it's good that you managed to keep the weight off. That's good. And being back on it, I don't think it should be I make a morning drink with avocado, peanut protein and milk. That sounds revolting. I years ago, I did a diet. I think it was the Harcum diet, and there was a lot of reliance on avocado in it. And I threw up like projectile vomit once after one of the meals with avocado, and I've since had a real struggle to have anything with avocado. But yeah, I think anything with protein you should be favouring, as far as I'm concerned. Isn't a cough a side effect? No, it's a side effect of talking so much, I have to say. I've been off, lost 70 pounds, been off 2 months, and so far kept it off. I now weigh myself every day, so I quickly look at it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of weighing yourself every day, just basically because your weight fluctuates so much. But certainly keep weighing yourself every week, and as soon as it starts to change, then do something about it. That's my plan. That's going to be my plan going forward. I'm too into climbing. I'm too focused on climbing, and climbing relies so heavily on weight that I'm not obsessed about it in that I'm going to develop a disorder, but because I also want to be strong. But I can't see myself getting into the state I got into before. Gave away gave away my clothes. That's fantastic. I had a cathartic wardrobe experience where I went down and over the years I've kept loads of clothes because I thought I'll get back into them one day. And what was fantastic is I had 3 sizes in the wardrobe area that I had to also get rid of. I'm in smaller trousers than I've been since in my 30s. I do stomach exercise and play squash, but because I'm losing weight, cannot keep up with the weird thing, Stephen. It might be this you're experiencing. What I found, and I found this nothing to do with Mounjaro. I found this when I've lost weight other times. One of the first things that happens is you go from big but feeling tight to feeling flabby. I think it's just your fat. I don't think fat just shrinks. I think it loses consistency, so it becomes looser. And I think that might be what you're having. Yeah, it's funny. Body recycled old cells. Your fathead and Joe talking. Thanks, Joe. Like hibernation. Yeah. Keg, not 6, but yeah, that's it. Or we used to get years and years ago something called a draft pack, which I think was 5 pints. So yeah, I've got a keg. If you start a pen and short dose, should the pen be used within 6 weeks and no longer? What do you think? Sorry if you've answered this. Yeah, I've answered this. I've answered it loads. It's one of the questions I get, and I have to give you this answer because I'm not a medical professional. If you want to follow Lily's guidelines, you don't use the pen for any longer than 30 days. If you want to use common sense, then I am totally happy with using my pen as long as I'm cleaning it, as long as I'm using it properly, as long as I'm priming every time, making sure when I inject, I hold the pen for 5 seconds, take it out before taking my finger off so that there's no danger of anything going back in the pen. As long as I always look at it, is there any discoloration, I will be happy using my pen up to its expiry date. But you kind of have to make your own decisions, I guess. Anyone noticing they get sick, light cold, and are more prone to a sore throat? I'm not. I don't know if someone was joking because I was coughing. The problem with the side effects is look at anything. To open a pack of ibuprofen or paracetamol, get the paper out and look at the side effect. Every single side effect that could ever be received is in there. But I haven't noticed a light cold. I get colds more since I had COVID, but not since I've been taking Mounjaro. Okay. I've just realised I've been prattling on for an hour and 40 minutes, so I might begin. Gail, I have to mention that. I can't not mention that. I feel freezing all the time. It's one of the weirdest things. I've always been someone who was always complaining about being too hot, sweating like a pig, and now I hate jumpers, and I've now had to buy jumpers, and I'm hoping that will level off because I hate jumpers, but I feel the cold so bad. I was, my friends that I was visiting, we were sitting in their house, and I'm thinking I'll go and get a jumper. It's a bit cold in here, and the pair of them were complaining about the heat. It's I'm not quite got to the sitting with a blanket on my knees stage, but yeah. what I'm wearing just now is kind of what I tend to wear. I tend to wear a t-shirt and a pair of shorts all the time, and I just have to have the heating on all the time. Not so much now because we're getting to the stage where it's a bit warm, but yeah, I would say the biggest side effect, the biggest thing I've suffered is having to go buy new clothes and the fact I'm cold all the time. Yeah, that's a great one. So anyway, I think I'll draw it to a close. Hopefully that was interesting for people. Hopefully, I'd be interested to know maybe if people can comment on the video. I think you can still comment on the video once it goes up as part of my content. I'd be interested to know if the format worked. Would it have been better if I'd had pre-organized questions, or whether good just a wee chat thing? But it was really, really good. I have to say, you guys that are following me for Mounjaro, they're kind of my channel was already on the go for climbing. The Mounjaro stuff has just made it rocket, and I started doing the videos just because I like the whole idea of documenting my whole process. But I've really enjoyed the fact that people seem to get something from it, and I'm glad it has helped, and I can put up with the odd person who just wants to tell me to stop eating a pie and exercise more. But it was really good, and maybe we'll do this every month or two. It sounds incredibly narcissistic. I obviously like the cinnamon voice, but I'm going to go now. Thanks, Claire, big man. I'll take big man. Like, I'm not even tall. I'm one of these people that people think is taller than I actually am. I'm only 5'11", and where I live, there's people that my daughter's boyfriend is 6'4", so I'm definitely not bad. But I'm going to go now. I'll wind it down. And listen, thanks for everyone that tuned in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all your comments. And we'll chat soon. And I'll see you on the internet. Bye. Oh yeah, more videos on autophagy. I'll definitely do that. I don't know what happens when I go here if you guys keep chatting, but when it comes up, if there's any requests, any more information, just put them in comments, and I'll address them. Let me know what you want in your videos, and I'll definitely try and do that. Bye.